Hello everyone. Today I want to dive into a review about this cornet put out by Dillon Music. I'm going to cut right to the chase and tell you up front, I think this is a great deal. It's a very good instrument and Dillon is selling it at an amazing price. I think that puts this cornet in a sweet spot for beginners looking for a quality instrument that will get you through the first few years of playing. And for those of you who might be asking, why is this guy recommending a cornet instead of a trumpet? Keep watching the rest of this video and I'll explain some of the advantages that the cornet can have over the trumpet for players who are just getting started. Hello everyone and welcome to Trumpet with Paul. My mission is to help you become a better trumpet player and a more creative musician. And today that means telling you that you might want to consider buying a cornet instead of a trumpet if you're just getting started. I should credit Michael Mergen for turning me onto this particular model of cornet from Dillon Music out of Woodbridge, New Jersey. Mike and I got to know each other a little bit last summer when we played in a brass quintet together up in Vermont at the Conn Music School, where I've been on faculty for the past 10 years. Dr. Mergen, as he's known, is an amazing trumpet player and was a member for many years of the President's own Marine Band. That means his day job was playing music for the President of the United States, and he's currently teaching at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. Mike is a phenomenal player and teacher, and as we started talking about what it's like getting young brass players started off on the right foot, the topic of cornets came up pretty quickly because there really can be some advantages for younger players who start out on the cornet instead of the trumpet. This advice isn't new. In fact, a lot of famous trumpet players got their start on a cornet and then later switched over to the trumpet. Now, if you've never heard of a cornet before, don't worry. The trumpet and cornet are both closely related instruments, and they both produce a tone that's close enough that you can actually have trumpets and cornets playing together side by side in the same section of a beginning band, and it'll work fine. The trumpet tends to have a slightly brighter, maybe edgier sound, whereas the cornet has a slightly mellower tone. Overall, they're really similar instruments, and if you learn how to play one of these instruments, you're going to be able to play the other one very easily. So why suggest that some students might benefit from starting on the cornet instead of the trumpet? Well, to begin, many students, especially those on the younger or smaller side, may struggle to hold the weight of a full-sized trumpet. And that strain can quickly lead to frustration and all kinds of bad habits. Nothing is going to kill a student's motivation to practice more than the feeling like you can't even hold up your trumpet without a struggle. And so for those students especially, the cornet might be a better option. It's going to be lighter, it's shorter than a trumpet, it makes it easier for small hands to hold and handle. The center of gravity of the cornet is much closer to your body, and that's going to give you a feel like it's a little more comfortable to hold. Having that comfortable hold, it can really help with motivation and being able to practice because you're not struggling to hold the instrument up. So that's one advantage the cornet has over the trumpet, that it's a little smaller, lighter, easier to handle. A second potential advantage of the cornet is that it seems some students find it slightly easier to produce a sound on the cornet than the trumpet when they're first starting out. Why is that? Well, without going into the complex physics, basically in my experience, I find that this probably has something to do with the slightly different cup shapes of a cornet mouthpiece versus a trumpet mouthpiece. A cornet mouthpiece will tend to have a slightly deeper cup than a trumpet mouthpiece. You can put a little bit more lip inside, and I think that tends to help students get that initial buzz going just a little bit easier. Now, many students who initially start out as cornet players eventually go on, once they've grown a bit bigger, to become successful trumpet players as well. And guess what? All of the fundamental skills that they picked up on the cornet transfer over to the trumpet easily. The only hard part for students who wanted to learn on a cornet instead of a trumpet has been that it can be a bit hard to find a decent cornet to learn on. I know because recently I've been calling up my local music stores in search of cornets for several of my younger students and was told that they don't supply beginning students with new cornets, only new trumpets. They only rent trumpets. What a bummer. And that's why this cornet from Dillon Music is such a game changer in my opinion. I decided to try one out for myself. I bought this cornet with my own money. I guess it's worth me saying that Dillon Music did not ask me to make this video for them. I'm doing this review completely unsolicited because I genuinely think that this cornet can be a great option for some beginning students. Let me start talking about the instrument itself. The overall build quality of this cornet is better than you're going to find with most student model trumpets today. I believe that Dillon's partnered with a pretty good manufacturer to make this instrument. They did a great job of designing, producing, and finishing it. I find a lot of instruments today that you buy around the same price point can be poorly designed, poorly constructed. You know, the biggest pain point for a lot of these lower quality instruments is that they have really unreliable and sticky valves. It's so frustrating. I'm really happy to report that the valves on Dillon's cornet are rock solid. These are silky smooth, they move easily. For what it's worth, the first and third slides also move very easily and have these nice triggers so you can move them. I think that when I play the instrument, the intonation's pretty good and it's capable of producing a really nice sound. Overall, the cornet plays beautifully. There are a couple of minor issues I should point out. First, while it's nice that the cornet does have these very functional first and third slide triggers, they do seem a little bit delicate to me. You won't want to be too heavy-handed with those, or I worry they might actually bend. It's sort of like if you forgot to lubricate your first slide for a while and you came back a couple months later and it was stuck, and then you tried to get it moving by really slamming down the trigger with your thumb, I think you might actually bend it. So that's not great, but it's not a deal breaker either. To be honest, a lot of my youngest students, they can't even quite reach the triggers. You know, their fingers are kind of inside the triggers. So it's not a huge deal when you're just starting out, I think. But it is something to be aware of and maybe something Dillon's could improve upon in a future version of this cornet. Second, the unmarked mouthpiece that comes with this instrument, it's okay. But I think you'd do better with an upgrade. I have no way of accurately measuring the size or shape, but I suspect the cup shape of this mouthpiece seems to be around a C cup, which is very trumpet-like instead of cornet-like. To get the full benefit of playing a cornet, I think students are going to want to have that slightly deeper mouthpiece, and so maybe that means upgrading to something like a Curry 7VC or 5VC. In any case, you're probably going to want to work with a teacher who could help guide you in finding a mouthpiece that will best match with your own unique embouchure setup. Could you find a better quality cornet out there somewhere in the world? Yeah, you could. If you've got thousands of dollars to spend instead of hundreds of dollars to spend, I could probably recommend some other options. But I think that the best part about this cornet is actually its price. At the time I'm making this review, Dillon has it listed for $425, and that includes a mouthpiece and a case. I think that makes it an absolute steal. I'm not sure you could find a better value for a new cornet anywhere on the planet. So wrapping up, who is this cornet for? I'd say any beginning player who's looking for a quality, affordable instrument. It's especially suitable for the younger crowd or anyone who's a little bit smaller. I think it can also work for adult amateurs who are just looking for a decent cornet at a good price. The only real ding here is the delicate slide triggers, and I wish they supplied a different mouthpiece, but really with proper care, this instrument is going to be a gem. My final thoughts, Dillon has done a great job with this cornet. It's perfect for beginners, and if you're considering it, you're probably on the right track. Just handle those triggers with care, consider investing in a mouthpiece upgrade, and you're going to be set for a great start to your musical journey. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my future reviews and playing tips. If you have any questions about the trumpet or the cornet, or want to share your own experiences, please do drop a comment below. Keep practicing, everybody, and I'll catch you in the next video.